Welcome back, Heroclix fans. Today I'm going to do some more previews of the upcoming Hulk Heroclix set, and we're going to get right into it. Back on the Punisher figures. This is my second Punisher figure I'm reviewing, and they all have this weapon swap. Give Punisher a ranged combat action. After the action resolves, replace him with any character with this trait, but a different collector number on the same click number. Existing action tokens and action tokens for that action are applied to the replacement. So this is really good because, say right here, because he has sharpshooter and he has range, you can be adjacent to someone, make a psychic blast shot with 2 damage, and then change him out with another character with whatever you want, like whatever is the best scenario. If you're up close, you're probably going to want combat reflexes. If you are with range, maybe you want to be in stealth. So depending on what click you're on and what scenario it is, you can kind of adjust. So that's really good. So I'm going to just talk about this figure and the next figure. They both have the same trait, but what you get here, you have 2 targets, 6 range. You start off with no move and attack, psychic blast, combat reflexes. So what you could do, just hypothetically, you could change into this one and have your defense with combat reflexes, and then you could shoot with psychic blast and then transfer out, depending on what you want to do. This one's going to be more, it looks like it's got a couple clicks of combat reflexes, 2 clicks of psychic blast, a little bit of willpower, only 1 click of move and attack. So he's going to be limited on the move and attack. These figures are very interesting, and they're meant to be played with all the other Punisher figures. So where one dial might be lacking a little bit, the other one will pick it up. But you just have to know when to switch over, and it's hard to review a figure like that because it's we've never seen something to this extent. But I like it. I like the dial. 65 points, good powers. So into the next one, which is going to be an uncommon, also 65, same trait. We start off with stealth. We actually have it for 4 clicks, and we have 2 clicks of lead climb. Then we start off with toughness, then willpower, then combat reflexes, and we have late dial range combat expert. This one only has 1 target, but it is 8. But he also has sharpshooter, so he can make a ranged attack up close. This one does not have any clicks of psychic blast, so you will not be able to get that benefit. If you've noticed over the 3 dials with this trait and point cost that can do this trait, they all have the same stats on the dial. They just have different powers. So it's very interesting, and I like that quite a bit. So here we have Punisher. This one's going to be from the mini set 205. This was going to be sold separate from the Hulk Heroclix boosters, so you're not going to be able to pull this one. This one's going to be individual sets. He does have a trait. He is 100 points, so he is different. His trait is different from the other ones. When Punisher makes a ranged combat attack, increases damage dealt by 1 to each hit target character if that character is adjacent to 1 or more hit target characters. So, if you get that, awesome. You can't switch him out with the other ones, but you could play with you could play 2 Punishers, and the other ones could do the switching out, and this one could be straight up. This one also has a longer dial than the other ones, and he has different stats. Obviously, different powers, but this one is kind of a mix between all the other ones, though I don't see any combat reflexes. Start off with stealth. 6 range, 3 targets, sharpshooter, and you have range combat expert from the beginning, and you have a good attack with 11 and 17 toughness. Starts off really good. You're going to be a stealth, kind of sniping people with your range combat expert. With your trait, you could target up to 3 people and potentially do a lot of damage, much more than 2. So that's really good there. I would like to see an 8 range on this character because he has stealth and range combat expert. But then when you get on your third and fourth clicks, you have Run and Shot with Psychic Blast, and that's really nice. For 100 points, I think you're going to get a lot of use from him. He ends with Regeneration, so you can kind of get those clicks back. A lot of stealth is going to keep him alive due to the fact that he can. It's going to be hard for people to get to him. They're going to base him, and he's very pushable, and he's sharpshooter. So if you base him, he's still going to be able to shoot you with all of his powers. So here we have Joe Fixit, Brute, Fantastic Four, number 36 in the set. 115. I like the points for this guy. And what are you going to get? You have no range, no indomitability or anything like that. Nothing special. You do have the Fantastic Four team ability, so you can get the benefits from that. You have charge, super strength, and vulnerability for damage, 11 attack. The beginning clicks are pretty good for a 115 point figure, and that's where you're really going to get a lot of uses from him. I don't think his stats are overly impressive, though they are pretty good for your points. For 115, you do get a brick figure, and you get someone that's going to be able to take a little bit of damage, and he's going to be able to definitely return the damage. On every single one of these clicks, you are going to be able to do something that is going to be beneficial to you for this figure, because this figure is supposed to be able to take damage and dish it out, and to be able to survive, longer than a couple hits. With a couple outwits and a huge hit, you might be able to take him out really quick, but it's not going to be that easy. His defense stats are, relatively average, 17, 16, and then 15. So, it's not bad. Let's look at some of the special powers he has. On his move, he has Leap Climb. After he uses it for a move action, he can use Quake as a free action. So that's really good. It's going to be near the end of your dial, but if you're on that part, if you're, you could do something, unless you're not going to be able to do damage to anyone with invulnerability or impervious. But even with toughness, you'll be able to get some 1 damage in there, and with Quake, you do knockback damage. So if it's a close combat character, you can run up to somebody, Quake, do damage, and they get knocked back, and if they don't have charge, they have to move up to you. But guess what you have? You have Leap Climb, so you can move away from it. So that's really good. I think that's a nice power. The only thing that would make it better if he was able to do 3 damage. But with Quake, it always does 2, so that works out. And you're doing it with a 115 point figure. You also have a damage special. Joe Fixit throws an object in a ranged combat attack. After the action is resolved, hit character is given an action token, so that's really awesome. So you can hit him with an object, do the damage, and then you can give him a token. You get that on your second click through your fourth click, so that works out. For 115 points, I think it's definitely playable and pretty nice figure. Nothing super overpowering, but it works. Good stats. Even when your defense goes down towards the end, you're still going to be able to do damage on all of your clicks besides your last one with just a blank 2. No range though, so all your stuff is going to have to be close combat unless you throw an object. So here we have Spider-Man. I'm pretty happy about getting another Spider-Man. Don't know if this is the one I want, but this is what we get. Definitely a really nice sculpt though. So it's a super rare, so it's going to be a little bit harder to get. So we got a move special. Spider-Man can use Leap Climb. When Spider-Man makes a close combat attack targeting a character on a higher elevation, modify Spider-Man's attack and damage value by +1. So this is actually pretty cool. I don't know how effective it's going to be. We have yet to have a special power like this particular one. So it looks like if Spider-Man makes a close combat attack targeting a character on higher elevation, you get a +1 to your attack and damage. So if someone's on a building and you're on the ground, and because your Leap Climb, you can punch someone up on a building, you will be able to get these extra bonuses. So that's pretty good. I mean, that's really good. If someone decides they want to be on the edge of a building, you can put Spider-Man right next to them on the ground underneath them and get this bonus. Though you're not going to be adjacent for like purposes of like breakaway or anything, so the character could just move away. But if you get a TK, this could give you some interesting choices, because you could just TK someone at the base of a building, and then you'd be able to get this power. So that's pretty nice, because he starts off with an 11 attack and 3 damage. So you could do a 12 attack, 4 damage. That's pretty good for 90 points. It's one of the more expensive Spider-Man figures. You do have the Fantastic Four team ability and the Spider-Man, which is wild card, which is pretty good. And then you have 4 range with 2 targets. And yeah, this is a nice Spider-Man. And let's get into more. He starts off with super strength, so you could also get that object too and just really devastate a character and just on your first hit. So you know what? That starting click is really nice. It's definitely a different Spider-Man. A bump up in your defense on your second click, and you get a special damage power. If an opposing character attacked Spider-Man and missed, modify that character's defense by -1 until your character's next turn. So with that 18 defense, it's a good chance they're going to miss you. So if they do, on your turn, you're going to have an easier chance to hit them because their defense is going to be -1. The way I read this power, it can be done from range or from close combat. So if they shoot you and miss, they get a -1. If they punch you and miss, -1. Not bad. So here we have the new Wolverine, Fantastic Four, X-Men keywords. 35, it's going to be a rare, so it's going to be a little bit easier to get than a super rare, but still probably kind of hard to get. He does have a trait, modify Wolverine's attack value by +1 if other friendly characters on the map possess 3 or more different team ability symbols. So if you play him on a strictly X-Men team, you aren't going to get that bonus. But if you play him, let's say, on a ragtag team with a bunch of different team abilities, you are going to get that +1, which is going to obviously help him out tremendously. Depending on what you want to do here, that is strictly on your team building and how you build your team. Then you have this built-in lunge special on your first 3 clicks, which is nice. When Wolverine is given a close combat action immediately before making the attack, he may automatically break away and move up to 2 squares. So you can move up to 2, you break away and move up to just 2 squares and then make an attack. That is extremely good. So you got a little mini charge, and you have exploit weakness on your top dial with 11 attack, 17 toughness. Now the last 2 Wolverines that we've had this built-in regeneration where you would get to heal a click at the beginning of your turn. This Wolverine does not have that. He is also cheaper though. This one's 70 points. The other ones were just over 100 points. Another thing is he has the X-Men team ability and Fantastic Four team ability. So this one actually has Fantastic Four. The same click on the second click, you just minus your attack and damage, but you still have exploit weakness. Then on your third click, you have Blades in Battle Fury. Then you have Charge Blades, regen. And then you have 2 clicks of regen on the end. So he's got a short dial. You have the potential to regenerate back up to your full click. So where you don't have that heal every time at the beginning of your turn, he can potentially get back to his first click. So it's still going to be a hard character to kill, but maybe not as hard. Because if you don't get a good regen roll, or you just blow through his dial, then he'll be down. But for 70 points, I think you're going to be able to get some uses out of him, especially with the exploit weakness on top dial. I really, really like exploit with charge, because that lunge looks like a little mini charge, which is pretty nice.